Hi, my name's Britton Meekum, and I'm so happy to be here to talk about integrative health coaching. As a coaching intern, I've learned the value of different strategies we can use to help a client in ways that I never imagined. Now, we have more science and more experience to be our best selves when coaching. This brings confidence, job satisfaction, and client results. For most coaches, we see clients who want to lose weight, feel better or improve, stabilize, or even reverse chronic conditions like heart disease, high cholesterol, diabetes, or high blood pressure. But what if your client simply wants to take fewer medications? If they're open to changing their diet, it could really improve their health in terms of their gut microbiome and their metabolism. We do this by using a personalized nutrition plan for each client. If your client has these sort of concerns listed above, then maybe a plant-based eating plan may be best for them. We will now proceed to provide guidance so that you can support and help a client following a low-fat, whole food plant-based eating strategy. So what is a low-fat, whole foods plant-based diet? Our eating plan includes a lot of plant foods in their whole unprocessed form. This includes vegetables, fruits, beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and of course small amounts of healthy fats. It does not include animal products such as meat, poultry, fish, dairy, and eggs. It also does not include processed foods or sweets either. This is a great question. Lower cholesterol and blood pressure, along with lower blood sugar values, are expected benefits from a plant-based diet. But it goes far beyond that to include reversal or prevention of heart disease, greater longevity or a longer life, maintaining a healthy weight, lowering the risk of cancer and diabetes, slowing the progression of certain types of cancer, improving symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, lower food costs, and lastly, the plant-based diet seems to be a good one for our environment. Best of all, plant-based dieting can be an enjoyable way to eat. If your client needs convincing but does not want to commit to this, simply try suggesting a 30-day challenge. Have your client consume a plant-based diet for 30 days and see if it has a positive impact on their health. If it does, you'll be able to continue with a plant-based eating strategy as a better option for some clients because they may find it easier to stick with, or that it resolves an aversion to eating meat-based protein. As you can imagine, there are some new foods that we will be exploring to allow your client to thrive with a new eating plan. Remember, if your client is looking to lose weight, choose the lower number of servings of nuts, seeds, starchy vegetables, and whole grains when a range is provided. Encourage your client to ask questions for more information on any guidance you give them. Encourage the use of unprocessed whole foods instead of processed foods most of the time. For example, beans should be chosen more often than vegetarian patties made of beans or lentils. Choosing whole grains like barley, quinoa, or brown rice are better than opting for processed grains like bread or pasta. Advise clients to choose fats only from whole foods like avocados or olives and limiting those that come from processed oils like canola. If your client has heart disease, they may want to avoid or limit nuts, seeds, and other fats and oils. This is something their health professionals will be giving them guidance on. If your client has diabetes or high triglycerides, you may need to suggest limiting fruit to 3 servings a day. Usually, this is not happening, so it is not seen to be a problem in the first place. Since changing to a plant-based eating strategy may be new to some clients, they may need to think about the meatless meals they can prepare at home. This could include whole wheat pasta with tomato sauce, black beans and rice, or lentil soup and salad as examples. It's easy for a client to change a favorite recipe to one that is plant-based. For example, making burritos or tacos with beans, rice, and vegetables is a great way to satisfy flavor needs without meat and cheese, which normally don't add a lot of flavor anyway. Simply preparing chili with beans and no meat is another strategy, or for clients who like to eat burgers, they can be replaced with veggie burgers or grilled portobello mushrooms. These are very satisfying and interesting alternatives for clients. For far more creative cooks who aren't afraid to do more involved cooking, things can get downright fun. Making kebabs with vegetables such as onions, bell peppers, summer squash, and mushrooms are great ways to get grilled flavor with no meat being consumed. To help you get started, we will include some recipes at the end of this chapter for plant-based eating. We've mentioned cost savings for plant-based eating strategies. Considering the cost of fresh produce at certain times of the year, frozen fruits and vegetables can be an easy and low-cost way to eat more plants and to have access to them year-round. Protein is also a concern for many who switch to a plant-based diet. This is obviously due to the lack of meat proteins, and for those who require it, the need to get complete proteins with a complete amino acid profile. However, recent technology has allowed manufacturers to extract proteins from plants and make powders that are very accessible and convenient to make recipes, such as smoothies. This might be advisable for a client on a higher protein diet so that higher values can be reached. One technique to help create plant-based meals is the plate method. This requires using a plate to portion food in an easy and healthy way for lunch or dinner. Start by filling half of the plate with non-starchy vegetables, fill 1/4 of the plate with a healthy grain or starchy vegetable, and then fill the last quarter of the plate with a plant-based protein. We would then add a fruit, a salad, and 1 ounce of nuts. This is a complete meal. Meal ideas for breakfast include having oatmeal, quinoa, or barley with nuts, fruit, and unsweetened almond, rice, hemp, or soy milk. An ounce or 2 of nuts and a piece of fruit is another quick and easy option for busy clients. Clients can make smoothies with a tablespoon of almond butter, adding a banana or unsweetened almond milk, and even kale or other leafy green vegetables. For lunch or dinner, have a large salad or a large serving of cooked, non-starchy vegetables with beans and potatoes or a whole grain. For clients who like to eat out, they may feel it's more difficult or challenging to eat plant-based at restaurants. The truth is, though, that many restaurants offer meatless options or side dishes that can be ordered a la carte. Restaurants are usually willing to make changes to menu items by switching to a meatless version of a sauce. For example, removing meat from stir-fry upon request, or adding vegetables and pasta in place of meat and using less or no oil at all are easy and quite realistic options. Many ethnic-style restaurants such as Indian, Chinese, and Thai offer a variety of plant-based dishes. For most people, finding a good vegan restaurant is no different than the search we all go through for any restaurant. There are plenty of them out there for us to explore, and we can be creative in encouraging our client to switch to something new or different. It doesn't have to be a complete switch, but may be added into an existing restaurant habit. There are some special nutrients to consider. Protein is the first. Be sure to watch the video module on protein. Now, protein is in every cell of the body, and it's used to build and repair muscles, bone, skin, and immune system. We need proteins to make hormones and enzymes. Proteins are made up of amino acids. Our body can make some of the amino acids, but not all of them. The ones the body cannot make are called essential. But clients can easily meet their protein needs each day from plant-based foods such as beans, peas, nuts, seeds, soy products, whole grains, and vegetables. That's a long list, and there's no need for a client to feel deprived of anything for making a plant-based eating strategy a way of life. Quinoa, a seed from South America that acts like a grain, is a great source of protein and has all of the essential amino acids. Adults need about 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. This is a standard recommendation and not related to a more specific client goal, like one trying to add muscle mass. One way to calculate protein needs is to multiply weight by 0.36 to find out how much protein is needed. For example, if your client weighs 160 pounds, 160 times 0.36 equals about 58 grams of protein each day. We will compare and contrast that with our eating strategy paperwork later, because the Integrative Health Coach knows that if we have more information about our client, such as their percent body fat, we can use that additional information to more precisely strategize their eating plans. We also have to do a bit of converting numbers from grams to pounds. The body needs vitamin B12 to make red blood cells and for nerve function. If we don't get enough B12, we can develop anemia or nerve damage. Most B12 comes from animal foods, and B12 is found in some processed foods, as it is used in some fortified cereals, meat substitutes, and rice or hemp milk. We always want to encourage and instruct clients to read labels, but in this case, we want to check to be sure that they are getting B12 added or supplemented. Because it may not be easy to get enough B12 from fortified foods, it may be best to take a supplement anyway. As we age, our body is less able to absorb B12. A physician might suggest a supplement or shot of B12 to help prevent a deficiency for your client, but unless trained for more clinical nutrition situations, we refer our client back to their physician for more information. Iron is a mineral in the blood that carries oxygen. Getting enough iron is important for everyone, especially pregnant women, women of childbearing age, children, and infants. Iron-rich plant foods include whole grain breads, cereals, dry beans and peas, dark green leafy vegetables, dried fruits, nuts, and seeds. Again, some foods such as breakfast cereals are fortified with iron. The type of iron found in plant foods is not absorbed as easily as the iron found in animal products, but eating iron-rich foods along with the vitamin C helps our body make better use of the iron we take in. Some foods with vitamin C include oranges, mangoes, kiwi, strawberries, peppers, tomatoes, broccoli, and bok choy. Regardless, some of your clients may need to take an iron supplement. Calcium helps build bones and teeth. It's also important for the function of the heart, muscles, and nervous system. Good sources of calcium are Chinese cabbage, bok choy, kale, calcium-set tofu, and broccoli. There are also many calcium-fortified foods such as soy or almond milk and cereal. Zinc is also important for our immune system. It helps with wound healing and blood sugar control. Good sources of zinc include whole grains, tofu, beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds, and fortified breakfast cereals. Compounds in plant foods called phytates keep zinc from being absorbed. This can be improved by soaking beans, grains, and seeds in water for several hours before cooking. Eating sprouted greens and beans and leavened grains, such as bread, in place of crackers, will also increase absorption. Some foods are also commonly fortified with zinc. It's important that we instruct a client working with a doctor or medical provider about any changes to their nutritional intake, especially one that involves plant-based eating. Making a lot of healthy changes can lower blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Plant-based eating can also affect thyroid or blood-thinning medications such as warfarin or Coumadin. If your client takes medications, make sure that they share your plans to recommend a plant-based diet for them with their doctor, who may then need to change some or all medications based on this type of change to eating. It is optional, but you may want to inform your client that they may need to be monitored for a period of time if they choose to go with a plant-based diet.